Hi guys, it's Chelsea from The Financial Diet, and today I'm going to talk about something that a lot of you requested on the last video, which is traveling on a serious budget. Now, I've always believed that travel is something that everyone should strive to make a part of their lives, no matter their budget. And all that really means is becoming a little bit more creative and a little bit more flexible about how you travel. For example, I'd always wanted to live in France growing up, but it really was clear to me that a lot of the typical ways of moving abroad weren't really an option to me when I was younger. So I actually chose to become an au pair, and that's initially how I moved. But I think a big part of the problem is that the images that we often see of travel are very idealized, very stylized, and often very expensive. You know, when you watch a movie or read a travel magazine or even follow a travel blogger, you're often seeing a very curated experience, which is really not representative of how most people can afford to travel. And frankly, many of the travel bloggers that you love to follow are actually getting all of those vacations and accommodations for free. It's important to remember when you're browsing Instagram or Pinterest that a lot of what you're seeing is really just an advertisement that's made to look like someone's everyday life. So obviously, restructuring in your mind what travel must look like is a big part of being able to travel on a budget, but so is having really good strategies about how to pay for it. And as someone who's traveled a fair amount at many different income levels, I've come up with what I think are 5 really solid rules for traveling even when you're kind of broke. So number 1 is in many ways the most important one, and that is start a travel fund. Now, once you obviously have your emergency fund and all of your basic finances taken care of, it's very important that you treat travel as a special thing outside of your day-to-day life that you have to make it a point to work towards. Now, a lot of us simply don't have the room in our regular budgets to put a travel category, but I believe, and not all finance bloggers do, but I really believe that there are a few things that for quality of life and mental health, we all have to kind of start a little specific dedicated fund outside of our day-to-day budgets and lifestyles. Now, what that means basically is setting an amount, a specific amount in your mind that would allow you to travel the amount you think is appropriate, and working outside of your day-to-day job specifically to put money in that fund. It's way easier to save up for a special event like travel when you know that every dollar you're making from a specific side job or project is going to that travel fund. I recommend finding at least one side job that will allow you to bring in an extra $100 to $300 per month and dedicate that specifically to your travel fund. And I'll link you guys to our video about side hustles you can do from bed, because that's full of great options that everyone can really access. At the end of the day, travel is only going to be a priority if you make it one, and that means saving for it specifically. Number 2 is to base your travel around either super affordable lodging or super affordable transport. Long story short, if you're traveling on a serious budget, you can't have it all. And if you're traveling longer distances, you're going to have to either cut back seriously on where you're staying or how you're getting there. Now, on the lodging side, that means going to somewhere where you can either stay with someone for free or use something like a home swapping app so that you can stay at someone's place while they stay at yours. Now, of course, don't forget, when you're staying with friends or family or even an internet acquaintance, it's always important to bring a gift, clean up after yourself, and offer to help with daily chores. There's no such thing as free lodging, there's just really cheap lodging. Now, if getting super cheap lodging isn't an option, you need to base your travel around super affordable flights. Now, that means you can't be really picky about your destination. You should use apps that allow you to find the cheapest flights to different destinations across the world based on a given day. If you're flexible about where you're going and when, you can find things like flights to Europe round trip for $350. Now, obviously, this also means being flexible about traveling a bit off season as well as during the weekdays, but it can really mean saving up to 75% on an average airline ticket. And I'll link you guys in the description to a great place to start your hunt. Number 3 is to always shop around. Now, this means you should always use more than one app or website to find your flights or your housing. Now, for example, when I'm looking to buy a plane ticket, I will use my app, Hopper, I will go on Google Flights, and then I will also go directly to the different airline websites. And it honestly varies each time as to which one gives me the best deal. And remember, when you're going to these sites multiple times, to clear your cache or use a different IP so that they're not giving you repeated prices. Number 4 is a bit more philosophical, but very important, and that's to start expanding your definition of travel. Now, largely because of all that aspirational travel content we talked about, it's easy to think that you're only really traveling when you're going to the airport and wearing your fabulous travel outfit and taking a picture of your passport on your thigh gap, and just generally eating, praying, and loving. But travel does not always mean international travel or even airplane travel. It just means going somewhere different. Frankly, some of the happiest and most well-traveled people I know are not people who are always jetting across the world. They're people who make it a point to get out of their town on a regular basis. And not coincidentally, this kind of weekend low-impact travel is by far the most affordable and the most convenient. Chances are most of us have some friends who live within, let's say, a 5-hour car or bus ride. They're people where we often think, wow, I should really go see them, but we almost never make it a point to. If we start reframing this going to visit so-and-so as a mini travel session, it's a lot easier to kill two birds with one stone. Not only does it usually mean free lodging once you get there, it also means something like, you know, a $15 bus ticket instead of a several $100 flight. Over the past couple years, I've made it a point to more frequently go and visit people and to have them come visit us. These little mini trips fulfill the exact same feeling of travel and adventure while being way more affordable. And plus, you can find kind of cool random reasons to do it. For example, a very good friend is coming up to visit me in a month or so because she's gonna come check out the spring blooms in Central Park, which is just a fun excuse to come and visit. It's up to us to create these mini adventures. Lastly, it's so important when you're traveling to pick what is really worth spending on. For example, it's super helpful when you're traveling to get a place with a kitchen so that you can cook at home or bring food out with you for most of your meals. Saving that money for one really good restaurant meal per day instead of feeling like you always have to be eating out is a great way to almost immediately cut your budget in half. And when it comes to things like drinking, don't feel like just because you're in vacation mode you have to treat yourself to a daiquiri every day. And when it comes to shopping, instead of just saying, oh, this day I'm gonna go shopping, pick one specific item that you wanna find when you go there so that the entire trip can turn into a bit of a treasure hunt instead of just some aimless spending. The key is to remember that vacation mode does not mean spending mode. Changing how you think about travel and becoming really strategic about how you go about it can take travel from something that feels really exclusive to being something accessible to almost any budget. You can be almost totally broke and still travel. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and to go to thefinancialdiet.com for more. Bye!